to DevOps Info channel. In today's video, we'll walk you through securing the Oauth application and see how to leverage the advanced capabilities in Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. Whether you're managing a small set of application or a large set of application, which is in the cloud apps, um, securing all these Oauth integrations is definitely essential. So let's dive into this topic and see what are the offers that's coming with the Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps in terms of the app governance. But before going into the topic, I really wanted to talk about a little bit about the OAuth, which is the open authorization. Even in the previous video, we talked in overall about the Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps and its capabilities around protecting and all the security controls it has. So in this, I would really suggest to take a look at the previous video to see the benefits of the utilizing the Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. But here we are going to talk more about the governance, the app governance of managing the OAuth applications. So first thing, like let's have a little bit description about understanding of how the open authorization works. So as we all know, this open authorization is a standard for access delegation that allows users to grant the third party applications limited to access the data to another service without sharing the credentials. Like for example, if your user wants to access a SaaS application, which is a third party, you don't need to, for an OAuth application, we don't need to basically give a username and password. So instead of logging in directly with the username and password, this OAuth protocol enables a secure process using a concept called access tokens. So in order to little bit of explain, I have just drawn this diagram so that we get more information how the basic flow is initiated. So for an SaaS application which is OAuth enabled, when a user wants to log in, first the user would request the access. Basically, the user would try to access the SaaS application with the URL with the call, and then that URL would redirect to the Entra ID provider, and that would challenge for an authorization request. So this in this authorization request, the SaaS application cannot handle it, so it obviously requires an IDP provider, and that's the reason in this example we have the Entra ID as an IDP provider. So in this case, it would challenge the Entra ID to request for the authorization. So here the Entra ID would send the user authentication to the user, and then it would challenge the user to authenticate, for example with username password, and then the modern authentication, for example MFA. So the moment when user completes his or her authentication, then it the enter id gives the user consent, because yeah let's keep in mind there are two types of consent: user and admin consent, which I mentioned here. So the moment when the user completes the authentication, then it would enter id would challenge for the consent, user and the admin consent, where after this happens after the successful authentication, where the Microsoft enter id will list the permissions that the SaaS app is requesting. For example, you talk about accessing the user profile, accessing the email. All this information is requested for the SaaS application. So the moment when the user grants this permission, like the user reviews the requested permission, and if they agree, they grant the permission by clicking accept. So this is for the user consent. Yeah, usually this kind of permission is not given to the end user, which is not good. So if there is any kind of approval process within your organization, yeah, it flows in that direction. So the moment all these approval processes completed, the requested permissions are reviewed and granted, and then the Entra ID, after this process, it gives an access token. So this access token is used by the SaaS application to look for the required permissions, and grant the user to that particular resource, and then provide the requested services. So basically, this is a long process. yeah, this integration looks easier. It's perfectly fine. It's SSO, and also it makes the life simpler for a SaaS application for the user to log in. But however, it also introduces significant security risks, because you imagine how many OAuth applications that would be running on any organization. So the unsecured OAuth applications can lead to data breaches, and then it can lead to a lot of security issues, and also, for example, unauthorized access. So that's why securing these OAuth applications is really crucial. So, having talked a little bit about how the workflow is working, and what are the risks behind it, I'm just going to take you further into the app governance option that's available in the Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. So this slide is also taken from the Microsoft. So basically, this was really nice to explain about how we can have a comprehensive approach to protect your application. So basically, like you see on the left side, there is always a process in every organization where like you'd be allowed to register your apps, manage access rights and permissions for your apps, and define which users can access which app, which is perfectly fine. So most of the organization has this the control mechanism for registering your apps and also managing the permissions and rights perfectly fine. But if you see on the right side, when you talk about the Defender for Cloud Apps, this is the the app governance which is coming into play, which could help all the organizations. So first one is like, with the Defender for Cloud Apps app governance, you will be able to discover and assess the cloud apps that would help in identifying the risky user behavior, and you'll be able to enforce policies. There are two methodologies of doing that, which is like pre-breach, which is the proactive, and then post-breach, which is the reactive. So two methodologies you'll be able to apply. We'll take a look at in the real demo. And when you talk about the app behavior, yeah, you'll be able to also define and enforce appropriate app behaviors, like how, based on the patterns of the data they are consuming, and how much amounts of users are utilizing it, and what kind of data it's been fetched from the Office 365 applications. So based on these behaviors, then you'd be able to enforce policies. So that's also a very good part, especially that comes in the app governance for these OAuth applications. So going further, I wanted to give a little bit benefits of using this app governance in Microsoft Purview. So the first thing is like, it gives the enhanced visibility into all applications. You see, like every organization is using Entra ID as an IDP provider. In those scenarios, even for example, if you take Google, then they're also using as Google as an IDP provider. In those cases, we never know how many OAuth application has been registered. Um, with such kind of app governance solution, you will be able to see the enhanced visibility into the OAuth applications, which provides a centralized dashboard to frequently monitor that access the Office 365 data. Because imagine the permission that you're given, it's actually giving access to your Microsoft 365 data. So we need to have a frequent review of all these applications and see them for better data control and security. And also the second one is like, it has the proactive risk assessment and the threat detection, which is like unusual data transfers, excessive API calls, and suspicious permission changes. Then you'd be able to view this. Even in the previous video we talked about, there are a lot of phishing emails that's coming for the admin grant consent. So those kind of things you'd be able to do the proactive risk assessment with this kind of threat detection. So they have a better better identification of this through this. So that will help you in doing the proactive measurement. And if you see about automatic policy enforcement, this will also help the security teams to set the automated policy to make the app governance access. And it also has the integration with Microsoft Defender and conditional access. This is one of the best part. Like it works with Microsoft Defender for cloud apps to provide a real-time threat detection. Like you also talked about the previous video, user entity behavior analytics. So even that one is utilized here. So then you would be able to see a better visibility and do an automated policy enforcement in a better way. And the next one is like support with conditional access. This will also help to enforce access policies to the auth enabled apps. For example, you can set a conditional access policy to block if such kind of auth app is seen to be compromised. So those kind of things is really beneficial. And you have the protection against insider and supply chain threats, which is like it would be able to detect the app that granted excessive permissions where employees that can be potentially malicious insiders if they have been compromised. So the use case scenario, if you ask me, like it is helping in detecting and removing the malicious auth apps attempting to unauthorized access to Microsoft 365 data. So that's one thing. And preventing excessive data access by blocking apps with the overprivileged permissions, because these are the two scenarios you can consider when your OAuth application is compromised. Like when any OAuth application is compromised or it's been registered in your tenant, the first thing is like they have more access to your Microsoft 365 data, which is not good. And also the second one is like they get more excessive data, so that like you have to prevent this. So you can uh, prevent this by having a preventive policies blocking that can block all these kind of malicious apps. Yeah, and you also have the automated alerts and responses. When any risky app behaviors are detected, then you get the automated alerts and responses to your SOC team. And the last one is like ensure the regulatory compliance, because you have the monitoring the app access and also the sensitive information. So this is the use case scenarios. So having said that, I wanted to take you to the demo. So let's see what are the options we have it in the demo. So when we wanted to utilize this app governance, the first and the foremost thing is you have to turn on the app governance in your tenant. So basically, you have to navigate to the Microsoft Defender portal, and then you have to go to the settings, and then basically come to the service status. And here you have an option to turn on the app governance. In my case, I have already turned on the app governance, so it's enabled. So if in your case, like if you have not yet utilized, then you should see this app governance turned off. Basically, you have to turn it on. Um, and after that, you see, basically you have to come to the cloud apps, and then you see the Oauth apps. But Microsoft has moved this Oauth apps to the app governance section, where we get more visibility to our logs and data of the OAuth enabled applications. So when you see the app governance section, you basically see the app name, app status, the Graph API access. Obviously, it's access with the Graph API, and the permission type. We all know it's like two types of permission. Delegated, it's interactive. When the user tries to log in, it utilizes the user context. And when we talk about the permission type application, then it's basically the permission is granted to the application, where it would be requesting all the details on behalf of the user. So when you see the app origin, it's an external or internal app. Then you see the consent type is user. Yeah, we also have two types of consent: user consent and admin consent. So you also see the consent type is user or the admin consent, and the publisher you see, it's the verified publisher or unknown publisher, so it's not applicable. And also you see the last modified and all this information, and the privilege level also you see here. More than this, if you come to the overview is also a very good place where it gives more information, and visibility, more visibility on the OAuth apps that's integrated with Microsoft 365, Google, and Salesforce. In my example, this is a test tenant. I have only Microsoft 365, and that's the reason we don't have the Google and Salesforce. But let's say if in your organizations you have the Google and Salesforce, Then after enabling Google and Salesforce, integrated with the Entra ID tenant, then you will be able to see them as well. So in our case, like in this example, I have just 5 apps found. So you see the apps found, what are those overprivileged apps, and then the incident related to the apps. So if you scroll down, you also see the predefined policies. Excuse me. This predefined policies is very good, because I can show you, this predefined policies has a lot of policies that would help in finding a detect an app that can be compromised. I can show you in a minute. So the moment when you click on the predefined policies, I'm just scrolling down. Yeah, you see the unusual activity from app with the priority account consent, and then you see app created numerous inbox rules, uh, and then increase in app activity on SharePoint, um, access to sensitive data. So these kind of predefined rules are present, which is really good. You also see increase in app activity on Exchange. Let's take a scenario. If the mail dot read write permission is given, then if any one of that particular app, let's say, for God's sake, it should not be compromised. Let's say if such kind of app is registered in a tenant, then there is a possibility of deleting the emails uh, from that particular mailbox. So this is the default set of policies that you see, and in the overview page, as I said, like that would give you the list of apps that's overall registered, what are the highly privileged apps, and the incidents related to that app. And if you scroll down, you also see like what are the sensitive data that's been accessed, what are the apps that has accessed Microsoft 365 services. Yeah, and these are the default ones. And if you want to create one policy of your own, then basically you can just come to the policy sections, and in the policy sections you have the Microsoft 365 that says regulate the app usage, that helps in monitoring changes in app usage and ensure the apps are used as expected, and secure the app permissions, find and stop the apps that have unused permissions that might be too powerful. So when you want to create one app, then basically you come to the policies, and then you just create one. I would show you from the beginning, so that it's more clear. So the moment when I come and create, it gives us an option to choose a policy template. This is where the place where we create the policy for the app governance. So here it gives a category based on the usage. It says increase in users, new app with high data usage or permissions, like for example overprivileged app, new highly privileged app. So these are more suspicious, right? And also certifications, newly uncertified app, and activity access to sensitive data. So if you want to explore more policies, then I would always more options in your policies, then I would suggest to go with the custom. And when you go next, um, I've selected custom policy and then selected next. So here I'm just giving it a name custom policy and severity is high. When I go next, here you see apply the default settings. I'm not going to go with the default one, because let's see what are the options that's available right now. So here you see the policy scope and conditions. Here you can scope this policy to all apps, specific apps, or all apps except. So if you say, like for example, specific apps, then you see the option to choose the apps that's you wanted to target. For example, it's a sensitive app data, an app that's consuming sensitive data, and that's more critical in your organization. So you can probably choose that and add. And the moment when you go next, it also has default conditions, but I don't want to go with the default. Let's see what are the options that's available here. So the moment when you click on edit, then you see the app registration age, the publisher verified, the data usage trend, you see services accessed. So these are good options. Like like for example, you see if the app usage data usage trend is like 80%. I'm just giving an example. And then you click on save and you go next. You see there's a policy action which you can set, like immediately disable this app. So if you find this particular app, the data usage is exceeding beyond the baseline, then my suggestion is to just disable that. um, so when you go next, and then you have the policy status active, which means it will take corresponding actions and generate the alerts. And disable this, like just keep policy but leave it as off. So let's take an example. If you take an active and next, and then review the policy and submit. So the moment you have enabled it, you see this app governance is going to this app governance policy would just simply disable disable this particular app, uh, if at all, if it's meeting this condition, which is really good, right? So one of the most powerful features of the Defender for cloud app governance is specifically the ability to perform the continuous monitoring with these kind of options. So basically, with this cloud app discovery, which is available in the Oauth apps, which is available for protecting your Oauth apps, that can help in protecting your Oauth applications, and doing the app governance within your environment. So actually, this app governance is coming as one of the feature which is coming in the Microsoft Defender for cloud apps. And if you have the required license, then I highly recommend you utilize this, because that's going to really help in regulating the app, managing the permissions, and also doing the app governance. So that's all for the today's video. I wanted to let you know, by using this, you can significantly improve your organization's security posture when it comes to app governance, for the especially for the OAuth applications. Um, it's always important to monitor the app activities, define the custom policies, and make use of this Microsoft Defender for cloud apps advanced feature capability that's coming within your license. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.